Good morning, good evening, happy Tuesday to all of you beautiful people out there. We've got some fantastic news. Happy to see you on this Tuesday afternoon. Love being able to do a show Tuesday in the morning. It's brr out there, a little chilly. It's outside playing with the little man. It's cold. I love it. Feels good. It's got me waking up this morning feeling pretty good. But what's got us fired up, what's got us feeling extra spicy this morning is the news, and we're going to talk about this, that hit our foes this morning, broke by Zach Alberverdi. But I do want to say one thing. I want to say something. Here at High Top Sports, boys knew last night around 10:30, okay? We faced the dilemma. Look, I want to talk about it because I'm excited about it because, Stephen Harris did some work. Boots on the ground, as we like to say here. He missed the show yesterday with Family Matters. And he heard me talking about Tyreak Sapp, and he goes, you know what? Let me see what I can do. He messaged Tyreek himself. He goes, please, Lord, come back to the Gators. Tell me, Tell me what's happening. Tell me what's happening. At 10:30 last night, I got a phone call. My phone is boop, 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 boop. Stephen Harris goes, the man's coming back. Tyreek Sapp messaged him. He kind of gave us our blessing to announce it. I didn't feel comfortable breaking it. Just because there wasn't like he said, hey, if so, can I break it? And he goes, yeah, I'm coming back. We let it be. We let it be. I tried to get him on the show. I go, hey, come on the show. Like, let's do a pop-up show. Like, I messaged him, said, hey, let's have, Stephen Harris was texting him back and forth. Hey, come on the show. Let's do this thing right. Broke this morning anyways. And here we are. This is massive. And the reason why, we're going live, we're talking about it, because this is damn near good as getting a portal commit or a commit in general. This is massive. Had the highest PFF score since Jonathan Grenard with a 90.0 PFF, our sack leader from last year. The guy was an absolute terror on the line. And not to mention, we talk about culture. We talk about what Jack Pyburn did for the room. Tyreek Sapp embodies all of that and then some. We've had him on the show. Love this young man to death. What I love is I talked about him because when we had him on the show, it was during the time when, it seems like a while now, we were struggling a little bit, and I go, hey, how does the team handle that? What do you do? How do you process that? And he goes, this is why you come play at Florida. He goes, if you're losing, they hate you, but when you're winning, they love you. And that's why I chose to come to Florida, because of that, because of the psychoticness that this fan base brings every day. That's why I chose. You know what I mean? The nasal strip makes it more foolish. I'm sick. I'm trying to get my nose cleared. Sorry, big guy. You know what I mean? Sorry for taking care of myself. So yeah, I love the fact that he's able to come back. Again, embodies what it means to be a Florida Gator. Embodies the culture. And you need a guy like that. With him and Banks coming back, big two catalysts on that defensive line. Two guys that just disrupted it. Two guys that understand where it's headed, right? With this year, I think we had a little bit, I think Cam Jackson did a phenomenal job of leading that charge. Remember, we go back to that video with Chapman kind of getting at Banks, and you see Jackson kind of fighting with Banks. Remember that video going back to the summer? And all those things that kind of was the growing of this defense, of revamping the culture. And now you've got two guys that embody that to a T. We're going to look at what this edge room looks like now with Tyreek Sapp being added to it. Now, when I was putting this graphic together, what's funny is we do these graphics. We have, like, obviously during the talking season, we'll say, okay, what's the edge room going to look like? What's this room going to look like? And we'll do it with this photo as we talk about it. And I had the edge photo still up from last year. Okay, I think Jamarcus Weston was on there because I think he switched positions. Jack Pyburn, of course, TJ Searcy. So I deleted all those guys, and then I added the new guys. Justice Boone was on that graphic in the center, going because he was our number one. He was supposed to be the guy. We know how that played out. The reason why I bring all this up is because go back to that graphic. You look at this graphic. Tyreek Sapp, when we put that graphic together last year, maybe not as exciting. George Gums. Again, kind of in the background. The fourth shot, that's where he was last year because we didn't know what we were going to get out of George Gums. Sapp is now the front of that, and we know we're getting with Tyreek Sapp. We know we're getting with George Gums, right? Cameron James. Cameron James is somebody who I love watching play. Guy flies all over the football field. LJ McCray, right? Somebody, again, kind of new. The two back there, Jalen Wiggins and Mr. Woods, the Penn State flip, Jalen Woods, I believe, too. Both those guys. Again, a lot of youth coming in. You add one more, right? You add one more. Oh, footballish. Sorry. I was like, wow, they said foolish. I am dyslexic. It does make it more footballish. I guess it does. My bad, Sandy. Look, I think you add, right, one more. If you can add one more, fantastic. This room really fires me up. Really gets me jazzed up. We talked about the young man from Georgia yesterday. Kind of play that outside linebacker, which I think plays perfectly into what Florida would be able to do. Sapp did not hit me up. No. Mr. Stephen Harris was talking with Tyreak Sapp yesterday on Instagram. I was going to show the messages, but that's kind of personal, so that's not my... He tweeted it out. He tweeted out the message last night that came through at 10 o'clock. So, look, starting to love... Again, keeping Tyreak Sapp is absolutely huge. We knew that. We talked about that. I know a lot of people were high on him and what he could do in the NFL. I believe if he comes back and has the same year, if not even better, I mean, his draft stock's going to be through the roof next year, potentially a first rounder. I don't believe he possessed that going into this year. And I think that had to be a part of the conversation of like, hey, you got a legitimate chance of coming back kicking ass and going round one next year. Like, that's a legitimate conversation that Tyreak Sapp has to have alongside with Cam Banks. Both those guys have the potential to do some special things. And on top of, right, do some great things. I'm forgetting somebody, Kofi SA, the guy we got from UMass. Got to add him to the mix. Again, why is that important? Because when we had George Gums added to this graphic last year, we didn't know what we were going to get out of George Gums. George Gums wasn't at the top of our list. If you had to say who was at the top of your list last year, you were going to put Tyreek Sapp, Justice Boone, number one, Jack Pyburn, but he was coming off an injury, so we weren't quite sure on that. We were all excited for LJ McCray. There's just Jaden Woods. Yeah, Jaden Woods. Yeah, Jaden Woods and Jalen Wiggins for both of those guys. Again, Jaden Woods is the big guy in the center there, the big graphic. So all those guys are on there. The one I want to forget right now is Kofi from UMass, who just committed a couple weeks ago. So there is one more edge player to add to this picture, this graphic here. And again, body-wise, talent-wise, yeah, we're upset we lost TJ Searcy. We lost Jack Pyburn. Guys that would have been, units right away. You got to be really excited for Woods and for Wiggins and what they're going to be able to do. Wiggins, we talked with Nick Marcinko on that. Very big size. A guy that doesn't have a lot of speed coming off the line, which we talked about, which Nick's talked about. Again, just going back to the Under Armour game, right? So somebody that could work on some speed a little bit, but very strong for his size. And we saw the workouts that they put together, that Chapman puts together. So excited to see what he'll be able to do. Sean, you guys are great. Love the show. Keep up the good work. Natty next year. Thank you, Jonathan Harmon. Appreciate that. Hopefully I didn't upset Sandy. Derek, I misread his comment. I got a little fired up there. It's early in the morning. Snazels are running hot and heavy, and I'm fired. I'm running off of a little Dayquil. I'm jazzed up. You know what I mean? Feels good to be here. Now just Gums is the last one to wait on. I'm pretty sure the last one to wait on was Tyreek Sapp, from my understanding. Devin Moore, we didn't have anything on him, but you're not wrong. We haven't heard anything, but from my understanding, the things that I've been reading, Sapp was the last name to really announce it. I guess technically Gums could go to the NFL, given the fact that the day has come and passed, which was yesterday, to announce that. I assume that Moore and Gums will be coming back. Could be wrong, but this is great news. You go into next year without this, right? We head into this and he goes to the draft, which I would have loved for Sapp just because obviously the success. You're a little more concerned. But man, I think, and again, I know we get frustrated. We talk about, hey, what's Billy doing? What's he working with in the portal, right? Why isn't he moving fast enough? And I tried to explain, like, look, keeping what your body of work intact is 80% of the battle, right? I kind of want to take a look at FSU because obviously they signed a lot of guys from the portal once again. Would love to see how this class bodes from last year's class because obviously FSU fans, they're fired up. They're high right now. Because, again, there's a lot of movement. There's a lot of good things happening. When you sign guys, it gets you like a little bit of a buzz. And so people are looking at that. It's like, yeah, but they didn't have anybody. They had to go do those things. And again, I remember the same kind of attitude and mindset and vibe was happening for Florida State last year when they were signing all these guys. DJU, half the guys that just signed and already leaving, right? The edge rusher that went to LSU, a couple wide receivers, all these guys they're all leaving now. And when they all signed last year, the same kind of like, we're back, we're going to go 13-0 again, blah, 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 was that same kind of mindset. I truly believe a quarterback is a huge play. I am not a sold or a believer in Thomas Castellano. I think he's good. I think he can make things work. But I think he had a great coach in Bill O'Brien at Boston College, and that didn't work out. So we'll see. We got a super chat here from Dominic Pizzanelli. I messaged you on Twitter. You helped me become a Gator fan, brother. Something special brewing in Gainesville. Billy doing a great job building. Dominic, where did you message me from? I'm happy that helped you become a Gator fan. That's incredible. I didn't think that we had that kind of power here, but that's awesome to hear, man. I love that. I appreciate that. I do want to talk about, too, a potential. There could be more on the way. We've been talking about this young man for quite some time. Some more things dropped yesterday. We talked about kind of some teas in the water that I want to get into. And then I love Tuesday morning shows. We've been talking, again, this whole month. I think there's going to be a lot of things in the air. I do want to address a couple of things. Yesterday's show with Zach Albaverdi, there's a lot of comments, and I try to not read the comments because they can get a little, I don't know what word to use, but sometimes they're a bit, just off the cusp. And so I try not to get too involved with it, but there was a lot of frustration, I guess, on what came from the week before into this show here. The conversation with Zach yesterday was absolutely incredible. It was very informative. We are at a part where we're in the middle of all of this. And everyone wants a black and white answer. They want instant gratification of like, what's happening here? This is a process. And we have the ability and we're blessed enough to be able to get some sort of detail and insight of what's happening. And people get frustrated, like, oh, you're just teasing us. You're just hyping us along here. It's like, there's conversations happening. That's all there is that we know. Not every fan base has this much intel on their team. Now, you may not like that, and they may frustrate you because you just want to know if we're hiring some, and that's fine too, and I get all that stuff. But to sit here and say that we're trying to just hype beasts and like make stuff up, I took that a little offensive. Not to me. Again, Zach and these guys do a lot of great work and put their ass on the line, and it kind of just frustrated me a little bit. I was like, look, guys, we're just having fun. We're trying to talk. It's talking season. And we're in the middle of this and trying to figure out what's going on. There's a lot of moving pieces and trying to keep you guys informed as much as possible. And not everybody, it's just a couple of comments. I know that doesn't always mean anything, and I probably shouldn't put too much into it. But I do, find it a little weird sometimes when people get rowdy about what the conversations entail. I don't know. I felt like it was very informative. I felt like we learned a lot yesterday. What's left in the portal? I do want to talk about that too. Again, of who, what's left on the table, what's out there. Is another cornerback in the, on the move for Florida. DT, obviously, filling up that Cam Jackson position, I think, is definitely a point of need. Obviously, we were looking at Silver, the guy from Kentucky, who ultimately committed to USC. So that is a question mark, right? We were heavily targeting that. I haven't seen much news around that since then. Are we going to look into that as well? Let's see here. Moving Barber to right tackle, Emmanuel playing left tackle. I do love that thought. I don't know, because I remember we had Barber on a couple years ago, and for those of you that don't know, Barber played right tackle before he was moved to left tackle. And a lot of people kind of were concerned when he was made that move because he seemed to play better at right tackle than he did at left tackle and dealt with an injury, all these things. Felt like he played well last year at left tackle. I don't know if they move him again back to right. I feel like that's a lot of moving, but it is something to think about because you have a guy that's experienced at playing at least the tackle position. And again, left and right, it may seem like it's not that big of a switch. Crenshaw did it last year, though, because Brandon Crenshaw played a lot of left tackle the year before, and he played right tackle his first year at San Diego State. And I talked about that on the show. Then moved to right tackle last year. Obviously, by the end of the year, was hitting full stride. I think Lovett will take one of the tackle spots. I agree. I think Bryce Lovett's going to slide right into that right tackle position. Before we get into those other things here, I do, of course, want to thank our sponsors, which I'm not even here to talk about it. I would love to do, like we've done before, where I get the fans to pick a lineup. I think that'll be fun. Maybe we'll do it sometime this week for the playoff games this week. I think that's fun to get, a little bit of everyone team effort here for the PrizePicks, which is our sponsor for today's show. We'll be for the entire week. So shout out to PrizePicks all season long. I told you about this lineup yesterday, feeling pretty good about it. Again, I think we could do another one to have some fun with it. But it's playoff time. It's now or never. Don't miss out on the last few weeks of football action with PrizePicks, the best place to win cash while watching the playoffs. You can now win up to 1,000 times your money on PrizePicks. PrizePicks now offers MasterCards for quick and easy deposits into your accounts this sports season. Listen, playoff football is a perfect time to get involved with this. And when you use the code HIGHTOP and play your first $5, you get back $50. You don't have to win or lose. You just, as soon as it's played, $50 into your account. And to be honest with you, I rode with that 50 they gave me for the entire season. I was rocking and rolling there. Got a couple of lineups to lock in and was cruising there. So this Saturday matchup, we've got the Bengals versus Baltimore versus Pitt. I think Baltimore runs away with it, and I think Lamar has himself a day. Then you've got the Chargers at Houston. It's indoors. It's at Houston again in a dome. I think Justin Herbert has himself a day. Lab McConkey has been eaten, and I think Russell, that 200 mark, I think more than that is a lock. So I'm feeling pretty good about it. Again, when you use the code HIGHTOP at PrizePicks, download the app, you get $50 back in return. We enjoy using it. It's a great time, so be sure to check that out. PrizePicks, run your game. Onus posted this on his Twitter yesterday. We didn't get a chance to talk about it as much because there's just so much information with Zach going on. But we talked about it a few weeks ago where he obviously signed a deal with Vernell Brown, that elite company that Dallas Wilson once signed. So that was kind of the first little T. Then this was posted on his Twitter. You got to feel really good about it. Where is Onus? What's happening? My understanding is that he's signing in February, which is that official signing day. So that would be the last commit. Would put us, I believe, at 85 scholarships so far. I think we're at 84, 83, 84 from my understanding. But I don't know if that counted Sapp. So we're 84, 85 is where we're sitting currently. Again, Onus, big-time cornerback. That adds another. That cornerback room is extremely youthful. Extremely youthful. Let's take a look at this cornerback room / safety room and what to expect. Again, you've got Bryce Thornton coming back. Gregory Smith, who's going to be a redshirt freshman. Jordan Castell going into his junior year. Got to hope he kind of gets out of that sophomore slump. Dejon Johnson. Jameer Grimsley going into his sophomore year. Kermani McLean, just saw from Nick Del Toro, is also on scholarship alongside Jason Zamudella, four-star offensive lineman who came late last year. Maybe he kind of makes a little bit of a push. Sharif Denson, Aaron Gates also playing in that star position. You add Maddox, who just came from UAB. He played a little bit of a nickel. He'll probably be in that safety / cornerback position as well. And then, of course, you got Lagonza Hayward, Hilton Stubbs, and, of course, if Onus were to commit, that is your cornerback / safety room. Very youthful, right? A lot of upside. That doesn't concern me. If those guys are going to be able to come in, I love what Will Harris was able to do. I think we dealt with a ton of injuries in that room this year. And even with those injuries, I mean, Jason Marshall goes down, right? Aaron Gates goes down. Devin Moore should be coming back too. So if Devin Moore can come back and if he stays healthy, I mean, golly, that quarterback room really starts to excite me. It's just that him staying healthy is going to be a big thing. But Devin Moore, another one, he goes down. The young guys had to step up. And were there times where, like, hey, there were some question marks for sure, but man, they really kind of stepped in and kept it going. And it was never a true weakness, I feel like, on our defense, although it should have been. And you got to compliment the D-line, compliment the linebacker play, because again, all those things are kind of fluid with one another. So I know we think we should go get another one. I think adding Maddox was huge. He kind of fills in what Triquez Bridges did for us. Again, Teddy Foster, another one. He was a freshman last year. We'll see if he gets some playing time. But you bring in that Maddox. I think he does what Triquez was, and Triquez was a huge impact player last year. A lot of this youth gets older. I'm not quite sure the quarterback is maybe necessarily as big of a need as possible. I think DT is going to be your biggest one, just given that Cam Jackson. We're losing Cam Jackson and Dez. Now, we're getting back, I can't think of his name off the top of my head. I know you guys will tell me in a minute, who broke his ankle in the spring game, right? But we'll love one more, I think, unless you feel very confident in the recruits that you're working with. So, again, I know we want certain things, but at some point, you've got to be trusting in your recruits and the guys that you brought in to do their job and to get things done. Yeah, the UA boy is him. And again, if Devin Moore can play a full season, stay healthy, Don Hall, 3. Look, I think a lot of guys, and we heard about it last year, says, hey, this guy, because he's ready for the NFL. The guy is electric when he's healthy. Jamari Lyons. Yes, Jamari Lyons. And again, before he went down, was somebody that was heavily in the conversation of being the starting guy. Right? We forgot about it because of the injury, but you always have to take into consideration, how does he come back from that injury? But Cam Banks, if Jamari Lyons can come back and pick up where he left off last year, what we were hearing, that excites me. Brian Taylor, the JUCO transfer, he had some, I would say, some quality snaps last year. Deontay Robinson really kind of started to take over at the end there. They did a 4-star transfer from Texas that came late. So another year for him. Again, another year of the strength and conditioning. All these things, right, excite me on top of just who's already there on the defensive line. Micah Bora, another one who was making some headway on that defensive line. So if you can go get one more guy, I love it. I think it'll be fantastic. But at the same time, I think I'm excited to see what this youth is going to do. But like we've been saying, a lot of high expectations. A lot of these guys coming back, you got to believe they're coming back to make a run. You're returning so many seniors that could have, went to the NFL or transferred out of here, and we're able to keep them. Is some big time stuff. Some big time stuff, just to say the least. So very excited about that. We got a super chat here I missed. Charles Warwick, former Gator Alex, had a huge game in his first game back from IR against Minnesota. Go Lions. Yeah, he had the forearm surgery and wore this like massive cast and balled out. Got a game ball. Absolute killer. Love that guy. So fun to watch on the football field. Love watching the lettuce fly around and get things done. So, well, Asa can apply for med waiver, but he's done with college. In your voice, we are so back. We are so back. Silence, Bell. Then I turn you on. Your voice came on and scared my wife. Yeah, I scared mine too, so it's all good. Well, boys and girls, happy Tuesday to you. This is, again, fantastic news to get the ball rolling. Hopefully we'll get some more information in regards to the front office hires. When we talked with Zach yesterday, he said, keep your eyes on the NFL. That's for DC and OC. And again, their season just ended on Sunday, so conversations will probably start heating up in the next couple of weeks. And when those conversations start happening, that's when we'll know more of where they're looking. And he even said there has been multiple people basically interested for the DC position at the Florida Gators. People are reaching out to Florida to come be a part of this. So you got to like where we're at. Got to like where we're at, boys and girls. Happy Tuesday to you. Good to see you. As always, smash the like button, subscribe, do all the thing. We'll see you boys in the next one. Peace and love, baby.